I never thought I'd be that wife, the one who discovers her husband's affair through a misplaced text message. But there I was on a Tuesday afternoon, borrowing Jake's phone to call the plumber because mine had died when the notification popped up. Can't wait for Friday night at Bella Luna. Our usual table at 8. Miss you already. S. I knew exactly who S was. Sarah Miller. My husband's colleague who had been showing up in our conversations more and more frequently over the past 6 months. Sarah Miller, who always needed Jake's help with work emergencies that somehow required late nights at the office. Sarah Miller, whose husband Tom I'd met at the company Christmas party just 3 months ago. My hands trembled as I checked Jake's messages. There it was, months of conversations, pictures, plans. Each message like a knife. 4 years of marriage, and he couldn't even be original enough to avoid the cliched affair with a coworker. I didn't confront him. Not right away. Something inside me, pride, rage, or perhaps a newfound calculating side I never knew I possessed, made me want to handle this differently. I'd seen enough movies where the wronged wife screams and throws things, only to end up alone while the cheating husband rides off into the sunset with his mistress. No, I wanted something that would leave a mark. Something neither of them would forget. I called the plumber from my newly charged phone instead, then returned Jake's phone exactly as I'd found it. That night, I kissed my husband goodbye as he left for his business trip to Chicago, a trip I now knew was completely fabricated. The next morning, I called Bella Luna and made a reservation for Friday night at 8:15 p.m. Table 12, please, I specified after checking their online seating chart. It was directly adjacent to table 9, what I now understood was Jake and Sarah's usual table. Then came the hard part. I found Tom Miller's number from the company directory Jake had left in his home office. My hand shook as I dialed. Tom. Hi, this is Rebecca, Jake Thompson's wife. We met at the Christmas party. Listen, I need to talk to you about something important. Can we meet for coffee? 3 hours later, I sat across from Tom at a quiet cafe. He was handsome in a bookish way, tall with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He seemed genuinely confused about why I'd called him. I don't know how to say this, I began, my rehearsed speech suddenly inadequate. But I think our spouses are having an affair. The color drained from his face as I showed him the screenshots I'd taken from Jake's phone. For a moment, I thought he might get up and leave. Instead, he took a deep breath and asked, "What do you want to do about it?" That's when I told him my plan for Friday night. Tom's initial reaction was disbelief, then anger, then a quiet resignation that mirrored my own emotional roller coaster. I suspected something, he admitted, staring into his coffee. Late meetings, weekend work emergencies, the sudden password on her phone. He looked up at me, but I didn't want to believe it. We spent the next 2 hours strategizing. Tom was hesitant about my Bella Luna plan at first, suggesting we confront them separately instead. But I was adamant. They've been laughing at us for months, Tom. Having romantic dinners while you're home with your kids, and I'm waiting with a cold dinner on the table. They deserve to face us together. By the time we parted ways, Operation Table 12 was officially a go. The next few days were surreal. I went through the motions of normal life, making breakfast, kissing Jake goodbye in the mornings, asking about his day. Each lie he told. I have a late meeting Friday. It's the Johnson account. Twisted the knife deeper, but I maintained my composure. I even helped him pick out a new shirt on Wednesday, knowing exactly where he planned to wear it. Friday finally arrived. I told Jake I was having dinner with my college friend Melissa, and he seemed relieved that I had plans. I spent 3 hours getting ready, hair, makeup, and a new black dress that hugged every curve. If I was going to confront my cheating husband and his mistress, I was damn well going to look spectacular doing it. Tom and I met at a bar 2 blocks from the restaurant. He looked different. He'd gotten a haircut and wore a well-fitted navy suit that made him look distinguished. We both ordered whiskey neats and drank them in near silence. "Are you sure about this?" he asked again. "Absolutely," I replied, though my racing heart suggested otherwise. We arrived at Bella Luna at exactly 8:10 p.m. Through the window, I could see them already seated at their table. Jake was wearing the shirt I'd helped him choose. Sarah had her hand on top of his, both of them leaning in, completely absorbed in each other. They looked so happy it made me physically ill. The hostess led us to table 12, right on schedule. We sat down, and I positioned myself where Jake would see me the moment he looked up. It took about 30 seconds. Jake's face when he spotted me was something I'll never forget. Confusion, then shock, then pure horror as his eyes darted between me and Tom. Sarah noticed his expression and turned around. The color drained from her face as she locked eyes with her husband. The 4 of us froze in a tableau of betrayal, the bustling restaurant continuing around us as though the world hadn't just imploded at tables 9 and 12. I raised my water glass in a mock toast. "Fancy meeting you here," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Mind if we join you?" The silence that followed was deafening. Jake recovered first, his face morphing from shock to a desperate attempt at damage control. "Rebecca, what a coincidence," he stammered, as if we'd bumped into each other at the grocery store rather than caught him red-handed with his mistress. "Sarah and I were just discussing the Johnson account. You remember Sarah from the Christmas party, right?" Sarah sat frozen, her hand still on Jake's, like a deer caught in headlights. Tom cleared his throat. "Hello, Sarah. Interesting work attire." She was wearing a slinky red dress that I'd never seen Jake look at me the way he was looking at her before we interrupted. She finally found her voice. "Tom, I can explain." "No need," I interrupted, signaling a waiter. "We've ordered a bottle of their finest Cabernet. You should join us. We have so much to discuss." The waiter arrived with our wine, completely oblivious to the tension. He cheerfully asked if we wanted to push the tables together since we seemed to know each other. "That's a wonderful idea," Tom said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. What followed was the most excruciatingly awkward dinner of my life. We made small talk like civilized adults while the subtext of betrayal hung thick in the air. I asked Sarah about her children, 2 boys, ages 6 and 8, and watched her flinch. Jake barely touched his food, his eyes darting between me and the exit like he was calculating his escape route. Halfway through the main course, I decided enough was enough. "So," I said, setting down my fork with precision, "how long have you two been sleeping together?" 6 months. 7. The restaurant seemed to quiet around us, though I knew it was just my perception. "Rebecca, please," Jake whispered urgently. "This isn't the place." "Where's the place, Jake?" "Our home. The home where I've been waiting for you while you were with her." Tom placed his hand over mine, a gesture of solidarity that gave me unexpected strength. "We know everything," he said calmly. "The texts, the fake business trips, all of it." Sarah started crying silently, mascara tracking down her cheeks. Jake just looked defeated. "What happens now?" he finally asked. I looked at Tom, then back at the ruins of my marriage across the table. "Now we finish this excellent wine. Then Tom and Sarah will discuss arrangements for their children, and you and I will discuss divorce attorneys." It wasn't dramatic. There was no shouting, no scene for the other diners to gossip about. Just the quiet implosion of 2 marriages in the soft lighting of an upscale Italian restaurant. Tom and I left together, walking in silence until we reached the park across the street. "Well," he said finally, "that wasn't how I expected my Friday night to go." I laughed despite everything, a hollow sound in the night air. "Me neither." "What now?" he asked. I looked up at the stars, surprisingly visible despite the city lights. "Now we start over. Both of us. 6 months later, I'm divorced and healing. Tom and I still meet occasionally for coffee, 2 people connected by shared trauma but finding our own paths forward. Sometimes the most unexpected endings lead to better beginnings. And if nothing else, I'll always have the satisfaction of knowing that neither Jake nor Sarah will ever enjoy a meal at Bella Luna again."
I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.